So you've never tracked macros before, you don't have any clue how many calories you're eating, but you want to start tracking. What should you do and how do you set up your macro split? All right, that's what I want to talk about today. And the way I want to do things is a little bit different than most. All right, a lot of people will say, just set up certain percentages and they'll take your body weight and you'll take your height and they'll do equations, or you'll go online and set up, find some macro calculator or take a TDEE calculator or whatever else and say, go with that. I don't like to do that. I don't think that that's very accurate or beneficial because each person is very unique. All right, you have your own unique genetics, you have your own unique diet and history. There's a lot of things that go into play in terms of what your current maintenance calories are. And your maintenance calories is what's going to dictate what you need to do to go into a fat loss phase, or what you need to start with a reverse, or whatever it is you're trying to do. It all is based on what your maintenance calories are, and we can't really get that off of some calculator online who doesn't know you. So the best way to start, in my opinion, is take the next week. Eat exactly the way you've been eating, right? Don't change anything about your diet, but just start tracking it. And this can be kind of hard to do because, once we start tracking, we kind of automatically want to start cleaning things up a little bit, eating a little bit less, and paying a little bit more attention. But it's really important not to do that and to be as open and honest and accurate with this process as possible to get accurate data. All right, so if you would normally go all day without eating and then eat a big dinner and have a snack before bed, do that. If you would have kind of munched on food all day long, do that. If you would have gone out to a restaurant and ordered whatever you want, do that. Whatever you would normally do, just do it, but track it. Put it down in a tracker so you have that data. You also want to weigh yourself during this process. I recommend doing it every day in the morning after going to the bathroom, in the same clothes or nude, so you can try to make things as consistent as possible and just kind of see how the week goes. All right, are you maintaining your weight? Are you losing weight? Are you gaining weight? All right, we want to see if these calories that you consume are around maintenance. If it is around maintenance, then that's great. Now we have a better understanding. So what you'll do is you'll take that week and you'll look at the average calories for that week and go, okay, this is roughly what my maintenance calories are. Now, is it going to be perfect? Of course not. There's a lot of variance and lots of ups and downs in somebody's eating behavior, but it gives us a starting point. And then from there, what I would do is start setting up macro splits with those same calories so that we can see kind of, okay, what happens now that we have these set macros, we're a little bit more consistent, let's see what happens. All right, this is where we're going to start tracking actual macros and set up splits. And here's what I would normally recommend for setting up a macro split. So the first thing we want to do is set up protein. Protein is by far the most important macro to hit. It is by far the highest thermic effective food. The thermic effective food is like how many calories your body burns, just kind of processing it and going through the normal processes, digesting and everything else that goes on when you eat food, right? So the thermic effect of protein is around like 30%, 25 to 30%, whereas the thermic effect of carbs is only like 5 to 8, and then when we get down to fat, it's literally only like 2 to 3%. So you burn more calories from the protein that you eat, just naturally, right? So that's one benefit. Obviously, it's also primarily responsible for building and maintaining muscle mass. It is the most satiating of the 3 macronutrients, so it helps you feel fuller when calories are low. There's just a lot of really good benefits to protein. So we want to start there, and what I usually would recommend is around 1 gram per pound of body weight, anywhere between like 0.8 to 1.2, depending on if you like more protein or if you don't, and also depending on how heavy you are, right? If you have a lot of weight to lose, then you're not going to want to do 1 gram per pound because it would just be way too much. And then you can start looking at lean body mass. All right, so this is kind of just a general starting point. From there, I usually recommend about 20 to 30% of your calories to come from fat. So if you prefer fats over carbs, aim for the higher end of that spectrum. If you prefer carbs over fat, aim for the lower end of this. But we want to set our fat here. Right? From there, all we have left is carbs. So the remaining calories we have from there would go to carbs, and that's your carb target. So now you have some targets to try to hit. And now, we don't want to get too caught up in trying to be perfect though. We just want to give ourselves some range. So try to stay within maybe 10 grams of each macronutrient this first week and try to average around that for the week. It doesn't need to be perfect. We don't need to be on top of it every single day. You can go above and below these targets on a daily basis, just as long as by the end of the week, the average is about the same. We just don't want to like binge and restrict to get there, but we don't need to be on top of it every single day. If we try to live and die on singular days, we're going to die. It's not going to work. So that's how you would set up a macro split. Now, after that second week, now we've got some more data. We can see, am I gaining, am I maintaining, am I losing? If you're still maintaining, now we need to make some changes to go into a fat loss phase or into a reverse, depending on where you're at. How do you determine that? Well, it just kind of depends on how aggressive you're willing to get. All right, so if you're maintaining on really low calories, you're not going to be able to make an adjustment of like 300, 400, 500 calories like you probably need to get things going. So, well, what do? Then you go through a reverse diet and you slowly start bringing up your calories. I've got all kinds of videos on reverse diets. I'll put a link to the playlist in the video here somewhere, or at the end of the video, so you can check those out. This is not a reverse dieting topic, but if your calories are too low to really make significant changes to, then I would recommend the reverse diet. If your calories are at a good place and you can make some drops in calories and be able to stick to the targets, okay, now you're gonna make a drop. Usually between 400 to 600 calories would be a good starting point, but again, this is just, it really highly depends on a lot of different factors, but that's how you can start a fat loss phase. And if you're just trying to look to maintain, well, now you know what it is, and you can just kind of roll with that. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions about how to get your maintenance calories, about how to start setting up macro splits for yourself and different variations of it, please just let me know in the comments below and I will be sure to get back to you. Otherwise, I will talk to you later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.